Good morning, everyone. Today is another version of EdTalks. Today we're with Kevin Hyde from Layer 8 Security. And usually I do an introduction, but I think for the interest of time, we're just going to jump right in. Kevin, welcome to EdTalks, your first time.
Here. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to talk about security and how you guys are successful in the SMB space and why security for you guys is different. But I think it's worth telling everybody what's your background and your history. You have a little bit of a military background for us, don't you? As a proud server of USA.
I am, yeah. Myself and most of our company actually have a military background. Most of us are holders of top secret clearances because myself, I've worked at the National Security Agency. I worked at Cyber Command. I'm currently still a Marine reservist, so I still actually am actively serving down there. So yeah, I get my intel from all the sources, so which is good. But our company has a lot of that service background in there, but we also have a lot of experience in private industry, so we're not coming strictly from government backgrounds. We've been working with companies of all sizes and shapes for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks, as always. And, you know, a lot of people do security, right? A lot of companies are in your space, and you guys focus on the SMB space. So why do you focus on the SMB space, and why are they a good candidate to be talking about understanding security and as it will impact their business?
So SMBs have their own host of problems that are not all that indifferent from the big companies out there. Everyone has the same pain points. They just look a little bit different or have a different flavor to them because smaller companies have different budget constraints, have different resource constraints. They have to use a lot more service providers in order to conduct their operations. So in order to do that, you're opening yourself up to a lot of exposures, which we see frequently in a cybersecurity posture standpoint.
Okay.
So we positioned the company and built it to service the SMB market because it's a neglected market, and while we do work with very large Fortune 500 companies, it's very niche oriented when we do with them. With the SMBs, we get to go in and do a full scope insertion with them, where we do an audit, we do penetration testing, we train their people, we do phishing training and testing, we'll do wargaming with the board and with their executives, and we help them create a cyber secure company that's resilient, not just against what threats you know are out there now, but against threats that are unknown.
Right. And how does the military background and the fact that you have most of the folks in your company with that background help, or is that just an ironic part of it?
It does help, honestly, because people say, why should I trust you? Well, you know, which is a good point. I would want my clients to ask me that, and they do. And, you know, one of the things I can tell them is we do have top secret clearances, which means we've been held to a very high standard just to maintain those. You have a lot to lose if you lose that clearance, so you can't go out there and do anything foolish. And, you know, it gives them a sense that, you know, we've been through the ringer, we've conducted cyber warfare activities when lives are on the line. Now we can conduct the same activities and the same testing and services, and, you know, when it's your revenue and your employees on the line.
Right. And most of our audience is going to be owners of IT companies, and I'm sure they offer security to some level, let's be honest about it, to their customers. And there's probably value in them still considering working with you for the layers you go down. So if I owned an IT company, I want to know why still continue to work with Layer 8 Security. How would you answer that for our owners out there?
Well, so what we do is highly specialized, and it's above and beyond what an IT company would typically do. I mean, what you should expect of an IT company is to provide some antivirus and firewalls and, you know, encryption for emails and maybe VPNs. And those are all necessary, but we come in hoping that those things are already in place. Then we can help a client get there if that's not the case. But, you know, what we do is above and beyond that. Our audit process is extremely in-depth. We have part of, again, that military background. We're all mostly intelligence officers, and so we have intelligence models we put on the answers we find. And so we have really in-depth ways to make the company's responses quantitative. We help them create value out of what we find, and we help them get a gap analysis and of where are they missing security, what don't they know about the threat intelligence vectors coming their way, what are the different attack points. Those aren't things that an IT company would know, and nor should they be expected to know.
Right.
But that's a lot of what our specialty is, and that's why we're able to bring that value.
And I bring it up because I know for a fact you work with several. You just had a meeting before this with another one of our link partners about how you guys kind of blend together. And now let's talk real quick as we wrap it up to the owners. For the owner of a small SMB company, I doubt they have staff and people that focus on this. They probably trust the outsourced IT or local IT to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, for most of the things that happen, it's a people issue. It's not a
Right.
technology issue. So now I'm an owner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an owner of ETA.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably in that SMB space. Why should I pay attention? What am I not really getting fed to me for information that would say, you know what, I should interrupt my day and I should bring Kevin in and I should have this conversation, because that's our second audience.
So, the clients that we talk to, the reason why they hire us a lot of time is because we come in and we hold them in a secure fashion to say, let's find out the picture that you're currently seeing and how other companies can view you if they were going to attack you. We help them understand the picture. We help them create the budget for it. We help them create, and if you're an IT company and you're servicing other companies, what we do provides work for the IT company in the back end, because we can create a mitigation plan and a project management plan. It's going to drive revenue actually for the IT company.
Right.
So that's something that on the back end of us working with them, they're going to get to do. We are a value add for an IT company to bring us to their clients and for them to have us as well, kind of that Harry Club for President.
Right.
You're also a customer, so understanding the value that we have, it's an intense experience. It can take weeks or months depending on the size of the company, how geographically dispersed they are, how many employees they have. But there are different ways that companies work with us. It's never just one way,
Right.
but the value is always there 100%, because we always find a way to make sure they're more secure. We always find a way in, which means we'll always make sure that somebody else can't.
And that's probably the scary part if you're an owner or you're servicing a company has ownership, is you can always find a way in. And I don't think people realize, like insurance, you don't realize the investment until it happens to you. Once it happens to you, you don't mind spending the money.
Right.
So how do you get people to get past that and know it's a good investment when they haven't had a bad experience, right? Because that's how things are shaped.
Well, a bad experience, unfortunately, is probably inevitable, but I don't like to be a doomsayer. What I want companies and clients to say is, I want to take proactive measures because me being secure is of value to my clients or my investors or my board. So I don't paint the doomsday picture, so it's more of, this is a new way and sort of a new normal to conduct your business in a secure fashion.
Right.
It's just like, upgrading your locks and the doors every couple of years. You need to upgrade the locks on how your IT network is run, how your people are trained, because we do have an intense focus on the people, hence the layer 8, human layer of the OSI model. That's where that came from. So, people are the weakest link, and that's why we focus first on the people, their business processes, how they use the assets of the company, how they use the network, and then we help them to create the most secure fashion possible so that there's nothing left to question. If they ever had a breach after we'd been with them, they'd be able to mitigate it, contain it, fix it, be back online in no time, because we could never tell somebody they wouldn't have a breach.
Yep.
Because you can't stop, a human from making an error, and if somebody really wants to find a way in, as I can tell you, we'll find a way in. But we want to make sure that damage is always kept to a minimum and that they always feel like they've done the right thing.
Okay. Again, we're going to wrap it up. We like to keep these short, but to me, there's HIPAA compliance, there's PCI compliance, there's security, and I think you're right. It is just the way you do business anymore. To make money, you've got to protect your business. The threats are out there are not kids with propeller hats. They're real life organizations paid to make life miserable.
Yeah.
And it's not like they pick. They sometimes go for the companies that seem like they wouldn't care because they're the ones not. Target, everybody knows they're going after Target. It's the other companies, the SMB, that they'll also attack, correct?
80% of the companies attacked these days are small to medium-sized businesses, 100 people or under. They don't make the headlines, though. It's the big guys that make headlines, but you can't think about that. You have to think about your reputational loss. Are you an upstream provider, a downstream provider? Are you going to be a conduit for an attack to a bigger company? There's a lot of reasons to simply just have the conversation with me or my staff to say, I don't understand what my threats are. I wouldn't know what to do even if I did. that's the perfect starting point, because that's where we start with most clients.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up. Kevin, thank you again. This was EdTalks. I think this is a good one because of just the nature of the beast and the world we're dealing with. So take care, and everyone, if Kevin's name is always going to be on the bottom. If you want to get out hold of him, just please reach out to us. Take care.